Έλα. Ήρθε, ναι, είναι πηγόν. Να, μισό λεπτό να το ρωτήσω, μισό. Κιθάρα και τέτοια τα πήρες από το Δήμο. Έλα, τα πήρε όλα. Σε κλείνω, έχω μια τηλεδιάσκεψη, σε κλείνω. Hello, can you hear me?
Se tu fizeres isto, já estão a ouvir. Mas não estão. Pronto.
Mas o Vitor não está aí. Não devia estar.
E agora nem precisas estar com os outros
É só isso, mais nada?
Mais nada. Eles agora é que te dão... O Joaquim Sayal recebeu uma mensagem.
Isso não interessa, pá. Isso é a coisa para entrar.
Pronto. Eles é que tu estás à espera que o anfitrião te chame. Desliga a câmara. Pronto.
Eu não devia ser chamado, mas enfim. Olha, isso é o emblema. Sim, senhor. Golden Rat é o emblema que eu já também recebi.
E depois o anfitrião é que dá as boas. Mais. Vê lá, Wilson. Estás a ouvir bem? Já está tudo dentro. Espera aí.
Hello, everybody.
Já tem som.
Pronto, agora tira a câmera aqui para te virem aqui na câmara.
Está bem.
Mana.
Hi, it's good to see so many people already in the room. I hope you're all well.
Здравей, Зори. Чуваш ли ме?
Да, здравей.
Успях да се свържа успешно. Дано да не ви затруднявам в комуникацията.
Няма проблем.
Então tu não apareces cá. Não apareces no... Mas já está ali tudo, mas eu apareço lá. Porquê é que eu apareço lá? Eu não devia aparecer. Epá, eu estou lá, quer dizer, se eu agora ligar a câmara também estou lá a falar com eles, eu não devia falar. Pronto. Tá. Pronto, mas eu nem vejo cá o teu nome. Tá, pronto, segue, toca a andar. Vá, dá já.
We will start in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Аз чувам ли се като говоря сега?
Да, чудесно.
Добре, защото мислех, че слушалките са само за слушане.
Чуваш се, да.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Alina. Good to see you.
Good to
How are
see
you?
Fine, thank you. Back from a short vacation.
Oh, okay.
It
Lucky
was
you.
a national holiday on 1st and on 30th of November. So
Nice.
thank you.
Antonio?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Okay, so we are gathering 16 people already.
That's good news.
Yep. I would suggest that we start on time. All the days of synchronous activities. We will have recordings and we will share everything so people can catch up. Maybe just a few minutes delay, but
Hello,
hi Vasilis.
how are you?
Okay, bună ziua, bună ziua, bună ziua. Hello, I'm fine, and
Hello.
you?
Hi Elsa, hi.
I'm very happy to see you.
Same here. Hi Svetla.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi.
Hi, hello.
Did you change your name, Svetlana?
Oh,
I haven't. Sorry.
no, something happens with my Zoom. I have no idea why, and I haven't find a way to change it. And each time I go into Zoom, I come out as Shetland. So each time I had to. No.
You know, click on your picture.
Yes.
You have, you know, so let me see. This is right.
Yes.
Right
Yes.
corner up, top corner. You will see three dots. Click on those dots at the end of the whatever it is, you will see rename.
Rename. Yes, yes, I actually do it every time, but by default, I come out each time as Svetla. So obviously I have to check something in the settings.
Okay, click on it and then enter new screen name and click on OK, and that's it. See, it has worked in my case.
Okay, thank
now
you.
I'm Elsa, no longer Irina.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so like I said, I would suggest that we start roughly on time. Okay, we will have recordings of all the synchronous sessions so that anybody can go back and check materials that you have missed or something that you just want to or need to get back to once again before you test it. Okay, so I would like to say welcome to all of you. I believe that we haven't had the occasion to be in such a big group previously, so this is a first. And our training, this training will be slightly different from everything we have done before. And hopefully all of you will get a lot of new ideas and yeah, a lot of knowledge that you can apply immediately in your classrooms. Of course, as we always love to say, we are by your side and we are always available if any further consultation is necessary. So I hope that all of you have received the agenda for the period of the training. So you are aware of the fact that we will be having synchronous sessions when we will meet online and we will do activities together in a big group. And we will also have asynchronous activities that we will be doing in our spare time, in our free time, behind our computers, but not in Zoom necessarily. Okay, if there are any questions during the presentations, you can, I believe, write to me, Zornica Staneva. Okay, so feel comfortable to send me messages. I will, yeah, Ivana, also to you. Okay, so to both of us. So you can write to us if you have any questions. We are in quite a big group today, so it will be tough to go through all the participants and find everyone and who is from where. But I would like to say that today we have expert teams from all the partner countries. We have the Bulgarian team. I don't see Kosio, but he's probably here. I can't see everybody on my screen. It's me, it's Ina Petkova is here, and Svetla Todorova is here, Ivana is here as well. And I hope that Kosio is on page 2. So today, before I continue, with a very short presentation about where we are in the project, I'd like to once again say hello to you, to thank you for the time that you will be devoting to this training. And yeah, I will proceed with a very quick presentation and then give the word to the experts who are a part of the Flip the Future group of tools, who will be sharing with us their knowledge and good practices today. So let me share my screen. As I promised, I will be very, very quick with this. I just want to remind to the team what we have gathered about and what are the project objectives, very briefly, and what process we have all gone through concerning the Golden Ratio project. So first, the objectives. We start from the attainment of key competence knowledge by students in all our partner states. And in the ideal case, we want to influence the way that people teach in Europe in general, so not just the countries that are involved in this particular project. We also want to specifically help students who are having certain troubles understanding the material, attaining the knowledge that they are presented in school. Then we want to support teachers in achieving the above by improving their skills for combining teaching approaches that provide a balanced package of, as you can see, information and knowledge and skills, and make this appealing to students of various learning types. Again, including students with learning difficulties. And by doing this, we want to take care of the latter, the students with learning difficulties, and help them be better included among their peers, more successfully included within their classrooms. And last but not least, we want to replace the routine of conformity teaching and learning, because this sometimes causes lack of interest, lack of attention and curiosity among the students. And teachers are therefore forced to face other new challenges and sometimes even question their purpose. The target groups, as we all know, are teachers who are educating students aged 11 to 16, the students themselves within this suggested age range, and students with learning difficulties. So what has happened so far? The involved schools and classes use the What Type of Learner questionnaire and the Key Competence Self-Assessment questionnaire. The first one does not have the idea of placing people in a certain jar of or box of competencies. It simply has the idea of opening our minds to the fact that we work in very diverse classrooms. And yeah, just not forgetting that even if our approach is mainly focused on a certain type of learning preference, we most certainly have in our classrooms other children who will learn better if we slightly modify our way of reaching out to them. Then the expert teams from the partner countries worked on their proposals for tools to be inserted in the Golden Ratio teaching program. And we now have 4 large group of tools, which you will be learning about during this online training. We've had transnational online sessions for peer learning among the expert groups so that we can all understand what our tools are about, and we can therefore present these tools to other people to broaden the network of teachers who have access to them. And yeah, to further present the tools from the Golden Ratio teaching program, which is also known as the toolbox, as you will be hearing throughout the training. Then we had transnational online events, which took place for presenting the tools to the interested teachers within their selected groups. And we also had some national online teaching events, as well as offline. I believe some of the teachers have gathered face-to-face, luckily. Then teachers provided lesson plans and their ideas for lesson plan modifications using the group of tools they have selected initially. And the experts have been working on formulating the tools for inclusion in the Golden Ratio teaching program, as well as on developing accompanying videos that will be supporting the text. Because as we said, we don't want to provide information in only one manner or only one media. We want to use as many ways of conveying information as possible, including in this case, audio and visual materials. At present, teachers are testing adapted lesson plans with their classes. Partners are working on explanatory videos and supporting the testing activities. And just before we finalize the agenda of this training, we decided that teachers need to be challenged with broadening their scope of experience with tools beyond those that they have initially selected. Hence the present training, which is directly connected to the variety of learning styles and preferences we come across in every classroom, everywhere in the world, I believe. So, yeah, as it says on this final slide, we hope that what we have prepared for you will be both useful and enjoyable. And please be active during the training. And yeah, I'd like to once again ask you to also be active when we're offline, because what you do on the tasks that will be assigned to the group will very much help you, we believe, in your future work with your students. Okay, so thank you very much. Like I said, if you have any questions, please do approach me or Ivana in the chat. We will try to reply. And now I can give the word to Antonio, and I can make him co-host as well so that he can share his screen with us.
Yes, I can share. Can you please confirm this? Okay. So, first of all, welcome to this staff training. It's a pity we are all forced to do that online. We were supposed to stay together, but it was some weeks ago we decided to go online, and the situation right now is confirming that it was kind of a good decision to stay healthy and to stay home or office at least. And I would like to present myself. I'm Antonio Giordano from Pixel. Pixel is a contractual partner within the Golden Ratio Teaching European Program. And I'm going to say a few words about one of the methodologies which has been identified within the project, which is the flipped classroom methodology. I would like to, for the partners in the project and those who already participated in the transnational meetings, I want to underline that it is not the same presentation I already used in previous occasions. I just modified it a bit, not to be repetitive and not to see again the video about how Italian people gesticulate too much. So it will be a completely different presentation. But as we already had several meetings, but I know for sure that there are some people who did not participate in previous meetings and did not participate in my presentation about the flipped classroom. So I decided to start from what I already presented in previous meetings, so that there is, let's say, a theoretical part within my presentation, but I've been thinking about adding a more practical part. So, okay, theory is important, but which are the steps to be undertaken in order to put into practice this methodology? So this is more or less the distribution of my presentation. So again, it will be two different parts: a theoretical part during which I will give few information about the methodology, but the second part will be how can I put into practice this methodology. So let's start. I will put the presentation in full screen mode. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to present the flipped classroom, which is, I would say, a new pedagogical model, which was created in 2004 by Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, two chemistry teachers who worked together at Woodland Park High School in Colorado. It was thought, the starting idea was completely different in comparison to how this methodology developed and modified itself on the basis of the needs coming from the users of the methodology itself. Because at the beginning, the initial idea was just to help those students who could not attend classes at school. So the initial idea was just to record classes so students could watch the lessons at their own pace. But this concept has grown up And we will see how it has been modified on the basis of the needs of the target users, who are the students. So what do we mean by flipped classroom? It is a way of teaching completely different from the traditional in-class lecture, as all the elements of the traditional class are completely reversed. If we want to make easier the definition of flipped class, we could say that inverting the classroom means that events that have traditionally taken place inside the classroom now take place, or within this methodology, take place outside the classroom and vice versa. A flipped classroom is an instructional strategy and a type of blended learning which aims to increase student engagement, and this is one of the objectives of the project. So to increase student engagement and learning by having students complete readings at their home and work on live problem solving during class time. It moves activities, including those that may have traditionally been considered homework, into the classroom. In a flipped classroom, students watch online lectures, collaborate in online discussions, or carry out research at home while engaging in concept in the classroom with the guidance of a mentor. For example, a model, there is not a model, a unique model for the flipped classroom, for the flipped methodology. I would mention the most important, or the most functional example of flipped classroom is that teachers prepare their lessons first by creating video lectures with explanations and exercise, project and discussions. These recordings are given or sent to the students before the in-class formal lecture, and so that they can watch the videos, the recordings outside the class or at home when they want. While watching, students have also access to online quizzes and activities that check the progress in their learning process as well as their feedback. All these will help the teacher once in class to make clear all the points that were not completely understood by the students while watching the recording activities. And later on, the students meet in class with their peers and teachers, and lessons are taught. Then, thanks to this methodology, students will have time to clarify those concepts, those ideas which were not completely clear, and will have enough time in class to practice, to do exercises, projects, to take part in open discussions. That's the idea, and that's why the activities are completely reversed. So what was done in classroom is done at home. What was done at home is done in classroom. This is the main idea of flipped methodology. As we can see, also the role of the teacher is completely different, because he is not just the leader of the classroom. He becomes a mentor, an advisor, I would say a coach, while students become active learners, and I would say they become main actors within the learning process, testing their skills, the skills that they learned during watching the videos, applying their knowledge and interacting, taking part in active discussions with other students. Why and when should you as teacher, when and why you should flip your classroom? Let's start with why. The reasons are simple: to get the educational profits of collaborative learning and active learning. Research in pedagogical methodologies has shown that educational experiences that involve collaborative learning help students to get better academic and learning and personal outcomes. Let's move to when. Flipped methodology usually works when you, as teacher, have to develop students' skills in oral communication, self-management, sense of responsibility, and leadership. Moreover, thanks to the open discussion which are held in the classroom, students become more open-minded and consequently are better prepared for daily social and professional situations. I've been thinking about a kind of SWOT analysis. I think that you are all familiar with the idea of SWOT analysis, about the flipped methodology. This SWOT analysis will help us to identify and analyze the internal and external factors that can have an impact on the possibility of implementing the flipped classroom and to implement this kind of methodology. Let's start with the strengths. A flipped classroom methodology allows students to learn when and where they want, as often as they want, at their own, I would say, rhythm, because there are some students who need to watch the same video twice if they really want to understand the key concept of that video. A flipped classroom allows students to have time to reflect and to think about the topic that is being taught, and to think about questions to ask their peers or the teacher during the in-class activities. This way, social and team skills are developed. Having a video recording of the lessons allows the students to review them as often, as I said, as often as they need when they have, for example, to prepare an exam. Absence of the student, absence of the teacher is no more a problem, because students have the information recording, so the risk of dropping out is reduced, and reducing the dropouts phenomenon is another of the objectives of this project. Teachers that teach the same course can prepare common materials and their workloads can be reduced. Now let's move to the weaknesses of the flipped methodology. It can create digital, economic, and social division, because flipped methodology requires, most of the time, access to a computer and to internet. And those students who belong to lower income families may find hard to have access to those kind of resources. Trust in the student is a key element within this methodology, because the flipped methodology depends on students' participation. If they do not watch the recording materials or they do not do the pre-class activities, the methodology will not achieve the objectives that were planned. Then, before I mentioned the possibility to reduce the workload for teachers if they have to prepare and to focus on the same course. On the other hand, it adds a lot of workloads to the teachers, in particular to those teachers who do not have IT skills or feel insecure while using IT skills. So designing the content, recording, editing the content require additional time and effort from the teachers. Some teachers that feel secure and like the traditional model of teaching may be afraid of losing control within the classroom. And then the last weakness is that students and teachers spend more time in front of a computer screen, which is something we would like to reduce as much as possible. The opportunities that were identified for this methodology. Flipped methodology allow teachers to design, create, and implement their own methods and approaches. The methodology allows the teacher and the students to enrich their knowledge. As I said before, in the traditional classroom, the teacher is the main center of information. By changing the method to a flipped methodology, teacher becomes the mentor, students become main actors within the learning process, and teachers should be ready to reply to the question of the students. As students become main actors, they may have further questions, and teachers should be prepared to reply to those questions. So teaching becomes more, I would say, motivating, because the teacher has to look for appealing ways of attracting the students' attention while preparing the content. And as I said, have to be prepared to give students proper feedback when they also find content on their own. Finally, the last opportunity is that this methodology encourages the schools, not the teacher, but the schools, to invest in technology, equipment, and computers, and so on. So this is another interesting opportunity. The threats. When starting preparing materials, some extra time will be needed. Teachers feel that they are already spending a lot of time preparing traditional classes, and in this case, they will feel an additional threat to prepare some extra documents and to prepare them in a methodology they are not completely familiar with. Second threat is that it is a fact that not all the students have the same learning style. Some students may benefit from this methodology, this is for sure, but others, for example, the kinesthetic learners, which were mentioned in the questionnaire that we have been using in the first part of it was the different types of learning approaches. There are some learners who could be kinesthetic, so they need always the teacher to look at their reaction while the lesson is presented. So this methodology can be a threat for this typology of student, those who need teacher help and support before doing any sort of exercise or test. So I'm not trying to sell this methodology as a methodology which can work in all the situations. There are some weaknesses, there are some threats, there are some situations in which this methodology can be a completely, I would say, complete failure. To conclude the SWOT analysis, I would say that the flipped methodology may not be the best one for some teachers, for some students, but let's move to the teacher perspective. Anyway, it could be a way of reflecting on the changes they should do in order to reach the students and to motivate them to use technologies in their classes and to motivate them also without any reference to the technologies. Motivation is crucial today within the school education. A flipped class is not a class without a teacher, without lectures, without instruction or exam. It is a methodology through which teachers aim at reaching those students who are in risk of dropout. So it can work, it particularly works for students who are in risk of dropout because they cannot attend classes. And it is a way of spending more time with students, motivating them, listening to their feedbacks, and actively involving them in the activities which are done during the in-class activities. So again, teachers spend more time in motivating students, in reflecting with them, in motivating students to reflect, to research, and to share their knowledge with their peers in a, I would say, collaborative way. So until now, I've been speaking about theory. As I anticipated, the idea is to have both theory and practice. And let's move to a more practical part, how to concretely flip a classroom, how to concretely flip a lesson plan. Flipping the classroom should include the following main elements, I would say main moments: before class, during class, after class. Before class, teacher assigns students materials to be investigated at home. This can be online lectures or demonstrations, podcasts, videos, internet searches, and so on. Students watch video lectures or perform other activities, introducing them to the content to be discussed. During class, class time is devoted to clarifying doubts and to deepening learning experiences. So the first step, we will go through different steps in flipping the classroom, but the first step is anyway, okay, I am the teacher. Have you been watching the video that I assigned to you? Is there any doubt? Is there something you want me to go through in order to explain what you didn't understand? This should take more or less 10 minutes, or it will depend on the amount of questions coming from the audience. Then the rest of the classroom activities are devoted to other kind of activities, which can involve the active involvement of students, which can involve them playing activities, playing case studies and case scenarios and so on. So discussion, debates, and so on. This is the core part of the methodology. So after checking if the assignments are clear for all the students, students participate in active learning activities to deepen their understanding about the content by using many possible techniques: exercise, discussion, group works, in-depth investigation, practical application, critical and creative thinking, or problem-solving exercises, and so on. So teachers use this time to support student individual learning needs. And then after class, students complete homework assignments independently. So those are the three, I would say, important moments within the process of flipping a classroom or flipping a lesson plan. Now, the slide was used twice. It was the correct one. Yeah, we just saw the basic moments, and then let's move to the different steps to be undertaken in order to flip a lesson. Step 1 is pre-class. Step 2, introduction to the topic in the classroom. Step 3, activities of self-assessment performed outside the classroom. And step 4, peer assessment and teacher assessment in the classroom. So now we'll go through all the different steps. Those are just suggestions or just in the guidelines about how you as teachers can flip your classroom, you can flip your lesson plan. So the first step is pre-class. So everything which is done in advance. Preparing a flipped classroom requires the teacher to spend more time in planning and organizing the lesson. So this is quite important. I said it could be a threat of this method, but it is quite crucial in order to prepare and to flip the classroom. When planning a lesson, it is important to consider what do you want your students to know and be able to do after the flipped classroom? What are the contents, the activities, and the resources matching the learning objectives? How will you assess what students know or can do? How much time do we need to cover the specific material, and how much time do students need to really learn and achieve the learning objectives which have been defined? So as I said, it takes a lot of time for the teacher. A lot of the workload is quite important, because preparing a flipped classroom in the pre-class activity for teacher means brainstorming a single lesson or unit that you want to flip. And you have to be aware that not all the lessons are, I would introduce a new word, flippable. Not all of them can be turned into or through this methodology. Preparing a flipped classroom means developing the flipped homework assignments. What will you ask the students to view at home? What are students expected to do before they come to class? What will you ask the students to watch, to read, and so on? Preparing a lesson plan according to this methodology means developing the follow-up activity for class. How will you assess students' homework? What will you be doing with them in class to follow up, reinforce, or extend the material which was covered by the pre-class activity? And finally, preparing this kind of lesson plan means also preparing the students and doing the assignments, which means record and share videos, develop your own materials, create, select, and make available resources for the students. Within the methodology, it doesn't mean that you have to make recordings for all the subject, for all the lesson plan. There are a lot of interesting videos already available, for example, on YouTube, or there are a lot of materials to be used, but it would be better for you to make the recording of your own lesson plan instead of using just what you can find on internet. So you should develop your own materials, create, select, and make those resources available for the students, and rethink the classroom activities. How can they help students practice what they have learned at home?
Can't understand anything.
Okay, this was teacher's perspective about the pre-class activity. From students' perspective, during the pre-class activities, they are assigned to watch recorded video lectures or do some readings. Students, thanks to this, students gain familiarity with the new material before class. Short quizzes like problems to solve, research to do, and so on, embedded in these materials, motivate students to do the pre-class work. Collaborative work among students is encouraged from this very first stage within the process of preparing a flipped lesson plan. The instructions for the pre-class activity should be extremely clear. They can be in a Word document, in a PowerPoint, in a podcast file, and again, they should be presented in a very, very clear language. Then step 2. So we already saw what happens before. Then step 2, introduction to the topic in the classroom. As many students may have no previous experience with flipped classroom or active learning, it is important to explain all the activities that students will develop outside and inside the classroom so that they will understand the benefits of the flipped classroom methodology. So in the first in-class lesson, teachers should give a brief introduction to the topic and explain the learning process. Students should be extremely aware of what is going to happen. They should be aware of the objectives they will reach through this methodology. And teachers should also clarify the expectations concerning results and time needed to perform all the required tasks. It is recommended to spend the first 10 minutes of the in-class time reviewing the pre-class activities in order to identify common questions or gaps and answering students' questions resulting from the pre-class activity. The remaining class time can be spent in engaging students in active learning to practice and improve what they started learning outside class. So again, there are dozens of activities students can be involved in: case studies, creative scenarios, simulations, group investigation, production of PowerPoint, discussion, micro lecture where students share and exchange knowledge with their peers. So from the video I've been watching, I understood this, but then I was so curious that then I looked for another video and I learned also this other aspect. Oh, I didn't know about that. I learned this other aspect about the same topic. So the common discussion is crucial within this methodology. These in-class activities should focus on developing students' high-level cognitive skills. They can work individually in the classroom, in groups, or in pairs, with the teacher circulating. So the teacher is not at her desk, but teachers are circulating in the classroom among students, monitoring them and providing help and feedback when required. At the end of the first in-class activity, it is important to prepare the continuation of the learning experience from the in-class activity to the outside of class individual or collaborative practice. Teachers should explain to students what they should do after the in-class activity in order to continue learning and link what they just learned with the following units, lesson plans, and so on. Before moving to the next slide, some ideas for deepening student understanding include: present additional issues for students to gain further practice on their own outside of class. As I said, I am a student. I've been asked to watch a video to fill in a questionnaire. Then I was so curious, then I moved to another one. It is important that the teachers, as mentors, provide students with guidelines about where they should look for extra materials, which kind of videos they should focus on, and so on. Another important idea could be create assignments that require students to apply the skills and knowledge developed in class. Assign additional readings. So it is not just going on internet and watch videos, but readings can be useful as well, in order to expand the concept discussed in the classroom. And encourage students to create informal learning groups in which they can exchange their understanding, their what they learned, their point of view, their opinions, and to start a discussion. Let's move to step 3 within the process of creating a flipped lesson plan. Activities of self-assessment. Activities of self-assessment performed outside the classroom prepare students for the last stage and may consist of short tasks or online questionnaires. There should be a question from Chiara.
Yes, please. I didn't understand if the pre-class activity is an activity that we must do in the class or outside. I mean, they
you as teacher, you have to do this in advance before entering the class, before starting the topic you are going to discuss with your students. You should prepare and do the pre-class activities.
Okay, so everything which concerns pre-classes is done by me.
It's done by the teachers and is done by the students. Teachers identify the materials to be shared with the students, and teachers assign students those materials. Students have to check those materials before entering the classroom.
Okay, yeah.
Was it clear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I was mentioning the activities of self-assessment. As I said, activities of self-assessment performed outside the classroom prepare students for the last stage and may consist of short tasks or online questionnaire with a limited number of items. Questionnaire should not check students' understanding or comprehension of the acquired knowledge, but should check whether students know how to apply what they just learned. The last step within this process of flipping a lesson plan, flipping the classroom, is the peer assessments and teacher assessment in the classroom. The activities developed in the last step should promote peer evaluation and teachers' evaluation. The construction of knowledge should be developed based on the dialogue, active learning, and collaboration. By reviewing their peers' work, students consolidate, reinforce, and deepen both their own and their peers' understanding of the material learned. This can help students to develop critical analysis skills, become comfortable with receiving criticism, and justifying their position in further in-class discussion. So this peer evaluation is another important step within the process, because it is another step through which students learn a lot of skills. They open their minds to receive feedback by other peers. They consolidate their skills in replying to those feedbacks and to support their idea and prepare themselves for other discussion with their peers. This activity can be done by using an online discussion board or a group Dropbox, for example, in which students have access to each other's submissions. Teacher will be able to evaluate students' reviews, comments, and their understanding of their peers' work. I will go to the last 2 slides within this presentation, because we have seen the 3 moments within the process of flipping a lesson plan, flipping the classroom, and so on. We have seen the main steps to be used in order to flip the classroom. Now there are some tips and tricks. Design the pre-class activities, videos, recordings, or identification of already available videos and recordings before the class. Build and connect each step of the class to the next one within the sequence of the learning experience. Third tip, less is more. Select just one small subtopic of the entire curriculum and focus on it during the lesson. In particular, if it is the first time you try to follow this methodology, it would be better not to start, okay, I will flip the lesson about World War I. I think it is too heavy and it's quite impossible for you to start from a big topic, but you should focus on something which is a subtopic and to focus on just one aspect, just to develop your skills in doing and in using this kind of methodology. Encourage collaborative work among students from the very first stage. So they receive assignments, they have to watch some videos. Students are asked, invited to share their opinions, to share their point of view about what they have been assigned from the very beginning. They don't have to wait until entering the classroom to start a discussion. They can start the discussion even before entering the classroom. Explain to students all the activities that we'll have to develop outside and inside the classroom. So students should be aware of the entire process of using this methodology. They should be familiar with the objectives to be reached, the time that they will need in order to reach the objectives, and so on. Give a brief introduction to the topic and explain the learning process to students at the beginning of the first class. And the first 10 minutes in the class activity should be focused on checking if the assignments have been clear, if they understood everything from the video or the readings they were assigned to, and if there are some doubts, clarify immediately them before starting the practical activities like discussion, PowerPoint presentations, and so on. So it is important that they have a clear knowledge of the topic, and then on the basis of this, they can start the practical activities within the classroom. Definitely, the main gain of flipped classroom is that students and I would say mentors' time is used more efficiently, and they can cover more content without using more time inside or outside class. Study after study has shown that students learn more when they have to engage with the content and use their theoretical knowledge to solve problems individually or in groups. Another advantage is that students can revisit the material and watch supplementary material. They appreciate the possibility to go over the material again, for example, if they have to prepare for an exam, and they really appreciate the possibility to look on their own look for the materials they think it should be consistent with what they have been doing within the flipped classroom methodology. But again, the role of the teacher as mentor, as guidance is crucial. That's all from my side about this introduction about the flipped methodology and the practical part about how to flip a lesson plan. I hope there are some questions. I will stop sharing so that I can see all of you, so that if there is any question, I can see you raising your hands or just unmuting yourselves. Is there any question? Good. Okay. So I will have my coffee waiting for questions. Otherwise, I think that we can move to the next part of this first day of staff training.
Yeah, I would just like to open the floor once again to anyone. If there are any questions to Antonio's presentation. If you think of anything that you'd like to ask, you can do so further on, again, within the chats towards him or towards me and my colleagues. Okay, and he will have the pleasure of answering the question in public to everybody. Antonio, if there is anything from the point of view of seeing a practice already used in Italy, for example, or in other countries that you can share, if you've come across this. this
I didn't
practice.
understand the first part because I was not able to listen to you. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, I will repeat. If there is a practice that you have come across using the flipped classroom that really made an impression on you, what was, for example, when was the first time that you heard about this, and how did it make such a big impression on you personally?
To be honest, the first time I knew this kind of methodology, it was because one of my colleagues was involved in a project about this methodology. So I heard about this strange name, and then I've been checking because I'm not a teacher, but teaching or just having short presentations is part of my job. So I was curious from the very beginning. So I went through the materials which were produced in the framework of this project, and I saw a lot of direct applications starting from the project. Then I've been developing this kind of knowledge on my own, and I've seen a lot of practices and examples of using this methodology. I would say that, in my opinion, it's a kind of methodology which can be really useful for scientific subjects. You don't agree, Elsa? But it's just a personal opinion.
You mentioned videos and readings. What about readings?
Readings is not for scientific subjects.
No. You mentioned in the pre-stage at home, students go through, watch videos or do some readings.
Yeah.
And you do readings for all subjects. Think of foreign languages. Think of, literature classes. Yeah. And by the way, one or two of our teachers did some flipped classes using readings. So the students were supposed to read a text, which was very short, a short story, a 2-page short story, having to do some tasks together. And then in the classroom, they work on the reading. And she organized, very interesting debates, because I remember, I don't know if Elena is here. She might be here somewhere in the audience. And, the main ideas of the short stories were freedom and captivity. And she organized a very interesting debate on this, working on, the short story which the students read at home. And she's not the only one. I can't remember. So, and I think that Wana is here. Wana.
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Okay, Wana, you also did a flipped classroom with your students.
Yes, I did. And initially I wanted to start from reading. I wanted to organize a reading activity that they could do as a kind of treasure hunt with clues to recreate the text. But then I changed my mind because I found a video that I absolutely loved, which was on the topic that I was going to teach. So I switched to the video. So the lesson itself was on the video. But I do have the materials for reading as well. So if anybody's interested, I can send them.
Yeah, because one of the problems of flipped classroom is, those videos. Teachers find it difficult to make their own videos or look for videos on the internet. And we have the other option, the other alternative, use audio materials, podcasts, you mentioned them, all of them. Absolutely. And readings, yeah.
Yeah, to reply to your question, about using the videos, the idea within this kind of methodology is that teachers produce their own videos, but I can totally understand it would be quite impossible for them to record their own videos. because you need time, you need energy, you need passion. And I'm pretty sure that all teachers have passion, but they don't have time, IT skills, or not all of them have, you know, those skills in making the recording, in editing the recording, and so on. So there are several videos which can be used, which can be found, and they can work perfectly for scientific subjects. The idea of, because there is a kind of wrong idea about the flipped methodology, is that just videos. This is not just videos. There are the audio file, the podcast, and as I said, the readings, and the readings can work perfectly, not for scientific subject, but for humanistic subjects. So I've been thinking, when I have been preparing this lesson, I have been reading about readings. So in a lesson about history, we are speaking about colonialism as extra material. Before starting the discussion about colonialism, I can ask my students to do something which is not history, or at least doesn't fit the classical box of history. I can ask them to read I Have a Dream. And then starting from this, we can open a discussion. We can open, you know, what is the situation today? What you think that has changed? What is still the same? So readings can be useful in non-scientific subjects. And this confirms the fact that, and this is personally speaking, something which was missing in my school background, in my school process, receiving feedback, inputs, not only the lesson. Okay, we are speaking about this, so why don't you go to this link and you see this video, or why don't you read this poem about this topic? This is something which was missing in my education, because it was missing probably in the way education was done. I have to admit, I am almost 40, so something which was missing 25 years ago. But today, this is something which is extremely feasible, because there are a lot of sources, because there are more tools to be used, and because we should, and this is a kind of cultural changement, we shouldn't think no more at the teacher as, you know, just the policeman in the classroom doing the lesson and so on, but as a mentor, as the one who provides us with not only concepts, dates, numbers, but also inputs, sources of inspiration. That what was missing, and sources of inspiration can be extremely important, in particular when we are in classrooms with risk of dropouts and less motivation by the students.
Yeah.
Something like Captain, My Captain. I would have been extremely happy to have a teacher like that. And today, I think it is more feasible.
You know, this is a link to an article written by a professor who has a book on flipped classroom. The article dates to, I mean, back to 2017, but you can find there lots of, you know, ways of, you know, managing the method without having a video. So you can use this, or yeah.
Great. So yeah, obviously there are many options, and we are just lifting the curtain at present. We are only starting with opening up to the different opportunities that exist. You can easily tell that people within the golden ratio are already quite awake about these different approaches and tools that can be used. And we can no more think within a box, obviously. So always when there is a problem, there is a very quick access to some solution, which is from the music, the visual sphere, the IT sector, and so on. Considering that we've been in front of the computer for an hour, I would suggest that before we continue with the next session that Vitor will be presenting, we have a break of, let's say, 10 minutes. If anyone needs more time, should it be 15 or 10 is enough?
Just ask everybody,
Yeah.
if possible, they can have a mobile phone with internet connection near them.
Okay, so as we all heard, please be back in front of your device in 10 minutes with a telephone that has internet access, if possible, of course.
Okay.
See you in a few minutes. Thank you, Vitor. Hello again to everyone. I hope you're back. If any questions have arisen during the break, please share. If not, shall we slowly continue with the next part of our program for the day, which will be presented by Victor Costa from CREF. I will make you co-host, Victor. Okay. I'd like to remind everyone that, and to thank you, of course, for all the registration forms. The information from the registration forms will be used for the Europass certificates that will be issued for you. So thank you for that, for making it possible to prepare those. And yeah, okay, I will be quiet and I leave the floor to Victor. Thank you.
Okay, hello to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here online with you all. Of course, we will prefer to be in a presential way, but with this situation now, that's what we can do. So let's do it. In my case, I will try to talk with you about future classroom methodology of teaching, which is a little bit different from flipping classroom, but it's let's say that flipping classroom is just a complement of this methodology. And when I talk about this future classroom methodology of teaching, the first thing I need to tell you is that in this methodology, the teacher almost doesn't teach anymore. And that's the difference, because in a very, let's say, since a long time that even at the university when we were studying, that everybody told us that we are teachers and when you go to the classroom, we need to teach the students. Well, but now we are in the 21st century and the world changed a lot. The new technologies appears and all the information is in the internet nowadays. And sometimes our students, they just ask us what I'm doing here in the classroom, because all the information that the teacher is giving me, I can find in the internet. So European Union is also suggesting that in every school in Europe nowadays, you should have a place, one class at least in each school that should look like this. And this place that the European Union is suggesting us to have in the 21st century is not very complicated to have in each school. It depends on if the school director wishes to do it, and because what they need is just to change the way it looks like. So it's a place where the students learn, but where the teacher has no place to sit and where the teacher has no place to teach. So this is a big difference. If you look, the students investigate, they create, they exchange what they are learning with the others, they develop the learning process, they interact, and finally they have a space where they can present what they were learning. And the teacher is there, but there is not a table to sit. Sorry, there is not a chair to sit and the table where he can sit and write, to write things. So the big difference is that the teacher is not there for teaching. With these 21st century skills, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, especially creativity, is the most important thing in the learning process. What I should say about this, how we can plan this learning process where the teacher doesn't teach anymore. First thing is to create a driving question. The teacher comes to the classroom and he tries to find a driving question that is connected with the curriculum of the students, what they need to learn. And the driving question must be simply engaging, that it must create curiosity for the students, encourages divergent thinking, it must be relevant and allow students to uncover the standards. So it must be very interesting driving question, but it's just a question, it's not teaching. They should connect with learning goals, call for higher order thinking, spark discussion or debate, be realistic, raise additional questions, require search and justification, and endure over time. So the idea is, okay, I'm not going to teach, and this is the big difference. Normally, we were trained to go to the classroom and to teach. And now we are being trained to find a question, just a question that takes students to the learning process, because all the information is in the internet. So the second step after the driving question is the investigation. The teacher must find some links to suggest the students where they can learn, because in the internet, as you know, there are good information and bad information, and sometimes we should, sometimes no, I think that always we should find some links to help the students to go to the good information so that they can learn in a correct way. So this is the second step. The first step, I can go back just for you to organize your mind. The first is the driving question, but not just the driving question. After, you should give them some links for the investigation moment. In the third step, they start creating. And when they start creating, they should do it in groups, in small groups, not alone. Because never anymore in our daily lives, in professional work, nobody works alone anymore. So big enterprises, when they employ people to work, they create teams. And so the teamwork nowadays is very, very important. And the most important thing is that the students know how to work in a team, as a team, not as a person, individual person, not to create, I'm the best in the class, but to say that our group is the best in the class. And it's something very different. Then after they create their learning things, they can exchange it with the other groups. They can exchange the learning so that they can check if they are in the correct way of the learning process or not. And the number 5 is the presentation. The presentation normally should take students and class to oral debate, to put them discussing about what they were learning and what they achieved in their learning process. So they present the final work in the class. So until here, you only see the teacher giving the driving question, giving the links to the internet, and going around in the groups in the class just to check what they are, if they need some help while they are learning. Of course, here, flipping classroom is included because they will study at home also in small groups. And it's a big motivation to work at home because they know that they are learning, and what they are learning, they can go on at home in groups to develop what they are learning. Finally, the teacher can use the formative assessment, can do it with a lot of different tools. In our cases, in Portugal, normally we use 2 tools that we consider very useful. One for individual assessment and another one for group assessment. I think I didn't put it here, but I can write. The individual one is quizzes, is for individual evaluation, the persons one by one, and for group work, the Portuguese teachers use very much one that is called Socrative. Socrative is to evaluate the group work of the students. So the teacher don't use, let's say, paper anymore to make a formative evaluation with the students. So these are the main steps. These are the main steps of the learning process of the future classroom methodology of teaching. Of course, there are a lot of tools that can help the students and can help the teacher nowadays. If someone is interested in checking and trying to find it, Class Tools is very, very useful. Quizlet also. Dustbin is very, very nice, very interesting. And other tools can be interesting for the learning process. I don't know if I can, maybe I can try to open Dustbin just for you to have an idea how it can be. Just a moment. I will try to put it just for you to check it. Look, for example, if I start talking about something to put in the dustbin, for example, where do I put an empty bottle of water, in your opinion? Who wants to answer? Well, nobody?
Plastic.
Plastic. Okay. Good student. An empty bottle of wine.
Glass.
Plastic? No.
Glass.
Glass? Very well. French fries packing. Where do I put it?
Paper.
Paper. Doesn't go.
Plastic.
Plastic. Where do I put the leftover of the fruit salad?
Bio.
Bio. The box of my new TV.
Paper. Paper.
Paper. The rest of the salad.
Bio.
Bio. Broken cup of water.
Glass.
Glass.
Bio.
What? Bio?
Glass. Glass.
Glass. My exercise book with bad results.
Paper.
Paper. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of tools nowadays, very easy to work on. Of course, I could show you much more, but we don't have too much time, and that's not the objective now. It's just to let you know that nowadays teachers have a lot of help to develop the learning process in the classroom and to make it more interesting, not just, oh, teachers, another PowerPoint. Nowadays, when I go to schools and the student comes from science lesson to history lesson, for example, the student comes and says, oh my God, another PowerPoint. It seems that our teachers just know how to use a PowerPoint to give the lessons. Why they don't use other things? Because nowadays there is a lot of very interesting tools that they could use in the classroom and make it more interesting. Because the big problem of the students, the teachers nowadays in the schools, is that they think that the students don't pay attention. But there is a reason why the students in the 21st century don't pay so much attention to the lessons. We should find that reason. And sometimes that reason comes because they lose interest, because the lessons, the creativity of the teachers is very down. They just go to the classroom and they just blah, 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 blah all the time, or they just present a PowerPoint and blah, blah, blah with the PowerPoint. And so they don't are creative. So of course, maybe they don't know, most of them, because in their lives, they learn how to teach a student, transferring information from them to the students. So now in this century, they need to learn how to put the students learning without giving them the information. That's the big difference. Okay, so these are some tools that you could find someday if it interests you. I just gave you a small example. And of course, for final reflection about this presentation or any presentation, also nowadays there are tools like Padlet or Canva that can be interesting for working in the classroom with the students. But today I want to, as the time is not too much, and I don't want you to spend so much time also, I just want to catch the idea of this methodology. So the idea is, okay, let's see how I can do it in my classroom to give a different lesson. So first thing, define working groups. This is the most important thing. Nowadays, working in groups is something that it's a technique that the students must know, the teachers must know, that they cannot put just the bad students in the same group or the good students in the same group, but they know they must organize the groups in order to have strong groups. All the groups must be strong so that they can learn. So look at the curriculum and find what unit your students need to learn. This is the second step. You need to define the groups, then you look at the curriculum because your objective as a future classroom teacher, you don't teach anymore. So you just need to define the groups and look at the curriculum to check what they need to learn. Then you could organize a brainstorming to start the motivation of the things you want them to learn. For it, I will suggest one tool that is called Mentimeter, but we can talk a bit later. Then find a driving question. This is the most difficult part of if you want to be a teacher of the 21st century, this is the most difficult part, is finding a driving question. Because in this question, you have to take the students to the learning process. Then give them some links to study or information about books to read in their school library, or even the pages in their homework. So what happens is that you don't need just to give them links to the internet. You can suggest books in the school library or their own book also in the pages where they can learn, but no teaching. Then help them when they need during the investigation process. Let them exchange ideas with other colleagues and groups. So that's why the technique of working in groups is very important, because if they do a lot of sound in your class, it will be like in the marketplace. So the most important thing is that they know when they are working in groups, they cannot talk too loud. They just can talk inside the group so that the other groups don't know what they are saying. So, if you tell them that these, they are very careful, because they think, okay, if we talk too loud, other groups will know what we are doing. So it's like a teamwork. Listen their final presentation of the work done. So you have to listen what work was done, and offer them a formative evaluation and a reflection about the things that they were studying. Of course, in this formative evaluation, this is the third thing the teacher has to do. So it was the driving question, the links to study, and now like a test for formative evaluation that can be done with quizzes, for example, or with Socrative, or if you are more comfortable with Kahoot, why not? Then give them new documents or links in case that the students didn't achieve the objectives planned for this part of their curriculum. So it means that, okay, my God, these groups didn't arrive to the learning process that they should do according to the curriculum. What can I do? You can give more documents, or finally, okay, I'm the teacher, so I'm going to teach. And then just at the end, you teach if necessary. If you think that your students didn't achieve the learning process. So you will be the traditional teacher just at the end. If you have any questions, you can ask, no problem. I can just go a bit more. Any questions? Can I go? I think yes, nobody says anything. So about the driving question, that is the most difficult thing for the teacher. How can I do it? So it must be provocative, open-ended, go to the heart of the curriculum, challenging, can be based on the real world that students find interesting, and consistent with the student's curriculum. So make the question engaging. The best questions are easily understood and interesting. They ignite curiosity, making students eager to explore answers. How to write driving questions? You only need one driving question for your overall project-based learning activity. This question should be open-ended and objective. So this is the most difficult part, because I know that most of you don't feel comfortable to change the way you teach. Because if you were teaching during 20 years, always being the teacher, transferring the information to the classroom, now if somebody tells you, like me, that you are not teaching anymore, the first thing you think is, I'm not feeling comfortable with this methodology because I don't teach anymore. And I'm paid for teaching. So I want to teach. But if you want, start being a 21st century teacher, try to do this. Try to do this, because this can be a bit difficult at the beginning, but you will feel excellent results in the class. You don't be so stressed. The class works much better. The students have a much better behavior in the classroom. They just talk inside the group. They don't talk each other for different things because they are motivated. And I think this is an excellent methodology for the new teacher, the teacher of this new world. Okay, so I want to put you working, but the teacher in this case will not be me. The teacher at the end, if necessary, will be our coordinator. So our coordinator will be the teacher. Okay, you don't mind? Where is she? Oh, I don't see her. Where is she? Where is so many persons here. I lost our coordinator.
What are you looking for?
Ah, you are here. Okay. Sorry. In this, you will be the teacher if necessary. Okay? Just pay attention because it will be just an example. So I will not be the teacher. You will be the teacher. Okay? But just if necessary.
Okay.
Okay. So let's work a little bit with stamps, small pieces of the world. If we think about, if our students, we asked in the class, if our students, what do you know about Romania? And the first thing the students said, oh, Dracula. Okay, about Romania, what they have in mind. They don't know anything about Romania. They just know about Dracula. And so, historically, the name Dracula is derived from an order of chivalry called the Order of the Dragon, founded by Sigismund of Luxembourg, the King of Hungary, to uphold Christianity and defend the Holy Roman Empire against the Ottoman Turks. So, if I was the teacher to teach them about Dracula, I should just make this driving question. What do you know about this world? And in this case, about Romania, and then give them links, as you can see down, give them links to study, not just this link, but more links to study what is Dracula, because for our students in Portugal, if you talk about Dracula, you talk about a terrible person that is very bad and there's blood everywhere and so on, and a lot of things. So we need to teach them what is real Dracula, because I know that in Romania, Dracula is not the person of the movies. Okay? Romanian people agrees with me?
Yes, you're
Yes.
right.
Okay, so let's go. This is an idea studying about stamps, starting by stamps to study about Romania and studied some real story about this country. About Portugal, for example, what do you know about Portugal, and what do you know about the Rooster of Barcelos? The Rooster, if you, every Portuguese man or woman who goes to another country takes this rooster within the luggage because it gives him or her luck in life. So what do you know about this? Since the end of the 19th century, the legend of the Rooster of Barcelos, also known as Galo de Barcelos in Portuguese, has lasted throughout time and has established itself in the history and culture of Portugal. The legend of O Galo is most commonly remembered and represented by a clay piece that is the shape of a rooster and colorfully. So as a teacher, if my students ask me about the Rooster of Barcelos, I give them a link or some links to study the real story of this. Because if you ask Portuguese students, they don't know the story of the Rooster of Barcelos. They just know that their parents, when they go traveling around along the world, they take it in the luggage to give them luck. But why? So this is another thing about Portugal. The driving question about Italy is a bit maybe romantic, because everybody in Portugal, they look at Florence, and the first thing that appears in every picture, even in the stamps, is the Ponte Vecchio in Florence. So, Antonio, do you agree that Ponte Vecchio is, let's say, some legend of Florence. Antonio, where are you, Antonio? He's sleeping. Okay, Antonio, no problem. So Ponte Vecchio, any Italian there? Where are the Italians?
I'm not an Italian, but I can
Oh,
assure
Yes.
you that Ponte Vecchio is a legend.
it's a legend. So the Italians, okay, Ponte Vecchio is the oldest bridge in Florence, was the only bridge across the Arno River until the 13th century. So in its long history, it was augmented and rebuilt several times, most notably about the flood of the 14th century, destroyed it almost completely, and so on. So let's learn a bit more about Florence and about this bridge and about the history of this place. So this is a suggestion for the Italy with stamps. One more. Okay, one more. What about Bulgaria? What my students do? What do you know about Bulgaria? About Bulgaria. We know just the yogurt. The Bulgarians, they have very good yogurt. Is it true, Zori? Good, she says that is good. So, and the Bulgarians, the name of the bacteria that is used to produce the unique taste and consistency of Bulgarian yogurt. So the bacteria can be only found in Bulgaria. And so maybe nobody knows how to do it, but if the teacher gives the links to put them studying, so they can go and learn a bit more about the Bulgaria yogurt, and maybe this takes them to more things in Bulgaria, not only the yogurt, because maybe in Bulgaria they discover much more interesting things than only the yogurt. But the yogurt is everywhere in the world, the thing that everybody knows, oh, it's amazing, it's different from all the yogurt that I ever tasted. So why? And another driving question is about the Greeks. The Greeks, why they have always that evil eye, like the Turks. They have the Mati pendant. The Greeks are here or not? Where are the Greeks? Oh, everybody's. So am I true that my students are very curious about Mati pendant? Is it real that it is Greek and Turk? Yes?
Not sure. I think it's religious. It's not Turkish at all, is it?
I think it's both. I will agree with Victor that it belongs to both of us. To us and the Turks. Yeah.
So when we talk about Greece in Portugal, we talk about nice beaches, nice lands, everything. And the curiosity, why these evil Mati in Greece? We thought that only the Turks had this Mati. So let's study, let's learn a bit more and then develop about the history, because not only the old history of Greece, but the new things that we can find in Greece. Okay, so I don't know if you have any more questions. If not, I will ask you to do something curious also, but you will need your mobile phones. You will need your mobile phones now. So please prepare your mobile phones. Prepare your mobile phones, because I will check if you are playing or not. So, we were talking about stamps. Here we have a stamp from France about the Council of Europe. So as you can see, there is a lot of story in the stamps. And the stamps nowadays, they are such like old-fashioned thing. Nobody uses that anymore, mostly. We use just email and things like that. So why not to use the stamps that the parents and the grandparents have at home to learn? So the question for you all now, it's just like a joke for you to, let's say, for you to check how we can mix the learning process in different ways. Just go to Mentimeter, not Mentimeter, to Menti, write Menti in your mobile phone, Menti, not Mentimeter, because Mentimeter is for the teacher. Go to Menti and put the code and ask and answer in your language. You can do it in your language, can do in any language. What are the ingredients of a Bulgarian yogurt? After it, Zori will be the teacher. Okay, more participants playing, please. Be good students. Zori, are you ready? She's
Yep.
You are ready? Because now, when we finish, you will be the teacher. Okay, is somebody missing? Siesta people.
I can't get in.
Siesta people doesn't count, just people with participating. Okay, one more minute and then we will start. Anybody's having difficulties in entering?
Yeah.
Just go to Menti, not Mentimeter, right? Just Menti.
Just put my name instead of the ingredients of the milk, of the yogurt. So you will find Antonio among the replies.
No problem, Antonio, no problem. Okay, I will underline those who want to, we will participate. I will underline this so that you can have a better idea. So you just have to go here and put this code and then put 3 words. What are, in your opinion, the ingredients of a Bulgarian yogurt? Okay, everybody? Can I go? Is somebody having difficulties in participating?
Yeah, me.
You?
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. I went in Menti and it denies to get me inside.
Maybe you tried twice.
Maybe my mistake. It's my mistake. I'm sure, but.
Okay, teacher. Okay, teacher. Sorry.
Okay.
I can
look at the results of our students. And now you can tell your opinion.
What are the ingredients? Okay, this is a nice one. I think, yeah, I think some further reading would be necessary for the group. The Lactobacillus bulgaricus is there, but only once it has been written in full correctly. And then the other bacteria hasn't been properly presented. So maybe, yes, some further reading should be given. Water, I'm not sure about water, if it's present or not. It should be just
No.
fresh milk and 2 types of bacteria.
Pasteurized milk.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Teacher, should be pasteurized milk.
Mm-hmm. Some more answers are coming, or?
Yeah.
There is a dog.
It's funny that
inside.
somebody wrote cat.
And cats as well, obviously.
And lion. Antonio and
That's it.
bacillus are important ingredients as well, obviously.
Okay, so we have a group of wise guys. Yeah, they will have to be obviously split within the other groups of students, having someone to guide them in the process of learning about Bulgarian yogurt. And yes, I will have the task of giving some further readings, some links for the students.
Yes. One thing that maybe if you don't mind would be interesting to send us the receipt of the Bulgarian yogurt by email, if you don't mind, because we will be grateful to learn how to do it.
Okay. So the students will receive the recipe,
yes,
okay.
Yes, because of course we didn't, in this case, we are talking about something that we didn't study. This is just an example that could be also, Mentimeter is also very good for brainstorming before starting studying. Because if you look at this now, it could be interesting discussion to start the curiosity of the students to develop in science lesson, for example, what is this Lactobacillus bulgaricus and things like that. And so studying a bit more about bacteria in science, from this studying more about Bulgarian history, Bulgarian geography, where do they produce this yogurt in what regions and things like that. So there is a lot of things that we could use, and with this very simple tool, we could use it for brainstorming for start.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Victor. So this was.
I have here some observations. Just let me look.
While you look, I will just make a comment that what Victor just made with us, with Menti, is very similar to what Ina will be speaking about in a few days, about priming. Ina will correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a good example of priming. So preparing the brain for new learning. Yeah. So everything is mixed.
It's connected. Yes. So anybody wants to tell something else, to make some comment, to say something? How much time do I have? Sorry.
We can have not more than half an hour more.
Not more, okay.
Yeah.
So more 15 minutes, maybe it's okay, yes?
Yes.
I don't want to spend so much time. Okay, so just to give you an example of also the learning things that we could use in the learning process in the classroom. I think I gave this already in the last one, but I don't remember. For example, you can put the groups of students going outside the classroom and talk, for example, with the trees, and what a tree can say about what is happening in the classroom. And so what a tree can say with what happening in the classroom. For it, you should have a storyteller, an interviewer, and a note taker, and this would be just a conversation where one of the students is the tree, the other one is the interviewer, and the other one is the note taker. This should be groups of 3 persons. And they could write these, and after they could present the conclusions in the classroom, present such like a text where they could use in different subjects. They could use this in science, they could do this in language lessons, in mathematics, and lots of different things, in drawing, for example. And so the idea should be that also, if possible, they could even publish it in the school newspaper, because lots of things happens outside the classroom, and this is like writing what is happening there outside, but also using it for the different subjects of the curriculum. So this is also an idea that I think that can be interesting for you. Another thing that we use to put the students promoting the creative and critical thinking skills is looking at pictures, for example. If you look at a picture, you can develop, for any subject, you can develop the learning process as a starting point. The driving question doesn't need sometimes to be a written test, a written question. It can be a picture. If they look at the picture, they can develop the learning process. It depends on what picture you put. It should be a very creative picture, because, for example, if you look here, if you look to this picture that I can show you here, for example, in this picture, if we want to talk in the science lesson about pollution, or in any lesson, you can just look here and you can develop a lot of ideas connecting with the place where the picture was taken, or different things. Also, it can be used for history and for different subjects. Also, if you want to talk about inclusion in the classroom or intercultural education, why don't you use a picture where students from different origins can be friends? So this can be a good way to develop the good relationship in the classroom. Or even also interesting, if you put a picture with a young guy looking at the I don't remember the name now, but if you want to put him and you show and you see that he's an old person, so you can talk about intergenerational ideas, the relationship between young and older people. This is also things that we can use in this methodology. Another thing that I can show you is about driving questions that for you, the thing that you can have more difficulties if you will be, you want to work like this. And if you want to work like this, I can give you some ideas, as you can give some ideas that we can use in different ways. For example, how would life be different if there were no electricity? Listen 3 different ways and then develop the idea in science in lots of different situations. or explain a flower to someone who has never seen or heard of one before. Or write a story about the zoo without using the names of any animals. For example, things that are different from the students expect from you, not just giving the pizza for them ready to eat, but prepare the pizza. Pretend that you get to make one rule that everyone in the world must follow. What rule do you make? Why? Or what kind of soup would you eat before for dessert? Write a recipe for dessert soup. Which do you think is more important? Motorized vehicles like cars and airplanes or computers? Why? If you could choose one thing that costs money and make it free for everyone forever, what thing would you choose? Why? So lot of questions that develop the creativity of your students, not just some things already done. If you could live in a tree house, would you? What are 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages to living in a tree house? And from there, give them links to develop the curriculum. If people could not see colors, how would traffic lights work? Design a traffic system that does not rely on colors, for example. Or even pretend, this I like very much, pretend that parents have to take a test before they can have children. Write 6 questions that would be on a parenting test. Or if you could invent a new subject that would be taught to all children in school, what would the subject be? Why do you think children need to learn about your subject? Or if you could talk to trees, what do you think they might say? That's what I showed before. Or are you more like a river, a lake, or an ocean, or a waterfall? Why? So here you can find a lot of ideas for develop the creativity and the critical thinking skills of the students. But of course, you can even do it much better than me and find other interesting connected with your students, because also it always depends on the age of the students and everything. I don't know if someone wants to tell something, because you are so sleepy all the time. I don't see here any comments. So, anybody wants to say something? Just a question for you. Did you try already to use a driving question in your classrooms? Let me check you. Anybody tried already a driving question in the classroom? Is it siesta time or what? Never tried. I didn't. Okay. So, okay. So just let me try to give you some more ideas, so that maybe I can motivate you. An idea, for example, read the test and just think how many words you don't understand. Just go here. In different subjects, we can use things like this, or the 5 fingertips of choosing a book to read. So if you have difficulties in 5 words, try a different book. If you have difficulty in 4 words, talk to read. 3 words, you may need help reading this. 2 words, still a good choice. 1 word, okay. So when a teacher gives a text like this in the classroom for the students, they read it and they try to find what words they didn't understand. If they didn't understand more, 5 or more, it means that this book is not good for them, or this text is not good for them. This is an idea. So that's it. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Teachers should guide without dictating and participating without dominating. The critical factor is not class size, but rather the nature of teaching as it affects learning. So as I think that I still have 10 minutes, just let me put you working. Let me put you working. Wait a minute. Just let me put you working, working here. Okay. You can go again to your mobile phones. You can go again to your mobile phones. Just a moment, because I need something to go. Just a moment. Just go to quizzes, please. Just go to quizzes. Wait, I'm just jumping because with these things, something different. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because I have a lot of pages opened already. Just for you to know that this tool can be interesting for you. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, I think I got it well now. Okay, so let me try to open it for you. So just go to quizzes, put your name and the code, and when you are ready, I can start. Yeah, join myquiz.com and this code. Let me check if you are good students.
Join myquiz.com.
And put the code. Okay, Maria is there. Wake up, sleeping people. Ah, okay, much more. We have 4 persons already. Wake up, sleeping people. Camelia is here, Sophia is here. Okay. Very well. Ah, we have much more. Joaquin is here. Okay. Some are entering now, but let me explain. Please don't answer very fast. Just try to read. You have 1 minute to answer each question. I don't want you to be the best and the first student. I want you to answer correctly. So to try to do your best, because this is a work that was done by our students, not by me. It's about saving water. So let's see if you are good in that. But if not, no problem. This is just for you to know how we work with this future classroom methodology of teaching. Okay, can I start? Is somebody lost? Can I go?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Sacre pusti.
Do I win something?
Nothing.
Let's wait a little bit more because some are late. It's missing only one, then we finish. Okay, congratulations to the Iana, Oana, Manet, Ivan. They were the winners. So, but in this case, in this learning process, what is important for a teacher is that if you look at these results, you can see that your students know very well how to save water. And if some question was more difficult, my job as a teacher is looking at the results and try to give them a way so that they learn better, that they can learn better about this. This program is also very useful because you can also use it as a homework. And you don't, in my classroom, in our classrooms, normally we don't show the results to the students. We just let them learn and don't show like here. For you are adults, no problem. The students don't like to see if they had bad results. So the idea is that is giving them the possibility of showing if they were learning, and then we teachers, we can check in what we missed, what is the learning things that they need to study again. So this is a good tool for formative assessment and also excellent for homework. The difference between Kahoot and quizzes is that in quizzes, they can use the mobile phone and they can see the questions directly in the phone. Normally in Kahoot, we use it more in the classroom for the screen, but with quizzes, the questions also appear in the mobile phone. So that's it. That's what I wanted to show you today. I don't know if you want to say anything else.
Besides, thank you. It was really informative. Thank you, Vitor. Any questions regarding what Vitor just presented? Yes, of course. A big thank you to Antonio as well. Okay, considering that we don't have much time left, I will just very quickly say that we are going to make a folder with all the materials that are being presented during the days of the training, and this folder will be shared with everyone so that you can use everything. But what we are going to do now is that right after the training, from the contact people in your agendas, you will receive a lesson plan, a very traditional, old-fashioned lesson plan about India. And we would like to kindly ask you to use what you just heard during these 2 hours and try to apply it to that lesson plan and modify it so that it looks a lot more to Flip the Future lesson plan. Okay, we'd like to ask you to do this promptly by the end of tomorrow and send your results in your national language back to the person, to the national coordinator. And the national coordinators will have the task of providing all your feedback back to the team that is presenting the Flip the Future group of tools. Okay, the same approach will be applied after each synchronous session with the same lesson plan. We will just remind you after the next synchronous session that now you need to use what you just heard and apply it to the lesson plan about India and send it back to the national coordinators. Okay? Is it clear? Please, if there is even a hint of lack of clarity, just say it so that we are all in the clear. Okay, there is
Antonio?
Thank you. Thank you. Antonio, yeah?
It is going to be us to send the translated lesson plan about India to the national participants in the training.
Exactly.
Okay, so I will send it to the mailing list I created with all the teachers involved by the Italian partner within the project.
Yes, for example, I have made an email which is in draft right now with all the email contacts of the Bulgarian teachers. I have attached the lesson plan in Bulgarian, and right after the training, I will just click the send button and you will receive it. And yeah, please send it back by the end of tomorrow so that we have time to prepare it in English and provide it to Antonio and Victor. And your contributions and your ideas about adaptations will be presented during the next synchronous session. Yes, Ivana?
And just if you will allow me a quick note, for many of you, the lesson plan is not going to be related to a subject that you're teaching. Please don't let that stop you. What we want and what we're hoping for is that in this way, you have the chance to try out the method that has been presented to you and just to have a feel of it and how it could work. But don't feel cautious that it might be out of your comfort zone. We just really want you to get a feel, and the reason why we're using one is that we can all work with the same approach so that we can see that it could actually work for anything. That's it.
Very adequate remark. I agree entirely. I hope it's okay for the whole group.
And for Patricia's question, right now, what we would like you to do this week is to use the methods that were presented today, and to do that, obviously, when we move forward with the training. But any kind of tools or quizzes or games or presentations, as the examples that were provided today by Vitor and Antonio, can be used. That is entirely up to you. And then we'll move on to the other methods later on in the training, so you can try something else as well.
Yeah, anything that is in the spirit of Flip the Future.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, this is great appreciation of what Antonio and Vitor did today. Thank you so much. Yeah, we will continue in the same spirit with the next synchronous sessions. We thank you in advance for the adapted lesson plans that you will send tomorrow. And yeah, we'd like to wish you a very nice evening. Stay safe and see you next time online. Okay?
It will be on Tuesday, not on 7th, yeah?
Yeah, it will be on Tuesday, on the 7th of December.
Okay.
Maybe just a short remark from me, because next time
Yes.
we're going to have the Draw Your Mind session. So please have prepared a couple of sheets of paper and maybe a black felt pen or just a pen too. So we're going to draw again, okay? Just okay, really very simple drawing materials. Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you all. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.